Hello everyone, Nat 1995 here to bring another chapter for reality to virtual, a Transformers fanfiction. It is Dark Energon. I do hope you enjoy this video, and remember, I do not own the Transformers series that belongs to Hasbro, and this story belongs to Princess Sora 273 on Wattpad. The sound of an alarm woke me up from my slumber. Was it all just a dream? Did everything that I saw with my eyes not happen? Only, this alarm sounded different than my parents' alarm. Or my alarm for that matter. I slowly opened my eyes to see a black ceiling. I looked around to see purple conduits along the black walls of the hallway I appeared to be in. The metal floor was cold, and the chill shot me up to sit up on my spot on the floor. I was defiantly not at home anymore. Was this a dream? Wait, a dream, within a dream? Oh great, I'm in an Inception movie. I looked down and examined myself. I was wearing my clothes, and I had my PS3 headset on my head. Did I fall asleep while playing my game? I must have, but that previous dream I had, or was it even a dream to begin with? It looked so real. Suddenly, my headset started beeping. I looked over to see the little light on the mouth, to see the little blue light blinking. What the heck? I muttered. I took it in my fingers, slowly pulling it out into place. Once it clicked, the blue light stopped blinking and stayed on. Then, a dark blue holographic screen appeared in front of my face, making me jump back right into the wall. I heavily breathed in and out as symbols appeared on the screen. I squinted at the symbols. They looked so familiar to me. And that's when I realized, they did look familiar. That's Cybertronian. I gasped. Then I watched as the symbols translated themselves into English. I know I've seen this before, but where? Civil war has ravaged Cybertron, home world to the Transformers for millions of years. Megatron, leader of the Decepticons, recently discovered an ancient power that will give him the edge to win over the hated Autobots. Called Dark Energon, this power remains locked away in an orbital station under the protection of a sky commander named Starscream. Megatron. Starscream. Am I inside the game? I thought aloud. The holographic screen vanished and the mouthpiece retracted back into its slot as the hallway I sat in shook suddenly. I yelped as I fell to my side. I frantically pushed myself up to my feet, using a conduit for support as the hallway shook again. Okay, if I am inside the game, where am I exactly? I made my way down the hallway, finding a large door at the end. I looked at it, looking for a way to somehow open it, until the ship shook again, violently this time. As I fell forward, the doors opened automatically and I fell inside the room beyond the doorway. I used a metal block for support, as I pushed myself up to peek over the block to see Megatron sitting in his throne, and two other Decepticons sitting at what looked like some kind of control panels. I peeked over even more to see a large window at the front of the room. Laser blasts rocketed across the sky, along with rockets and explosions. That's when I realized, this was a spaceship. We were up in space. As I looked around the window, I froze, seeing the image of a large metal planet off in the distance. Cybertron. I whispered. Hold your course. A voice barked. I nearly squealed as I looked up, seeing Megatron get up from his throne. I ducked my head down, but still had my head high enough to see what was happening. Starscream wouldn't fight with such desperation, if the legends weren't true. He continued. Lord Megatron, you're certain it's here? The Decepticon at the control console to the left asked him. The name seemed to escape me, but he looked so familiar. And for some reason the voice of him reminded her of voice actor Steve Bloom. They sounded so similar. I am certain. Barricade. Megatron answered. And when I find it, the balance of this war with the Autobots will finally tip on my favor. So that was his name. Barricade. He was a police car in the live-action films. He looks smaller and a lot different. I peeked out for one more look, just to get a view of my surroundings. Judging by Megatron's design, it appeared I, without a doubt, was defiantly in the video game. I was still debating or not whether or not I was dreaming this or that electrical shock knocked me in some kind of coma, or worse. My train of thought halted when two missiles struck the ship. the violent shaking knocking me back down to the floor with a yelp. Thankfully there was so much noise, none of them heard me. Although I had yet to figure out if they could actually see or hear me, but if they could, I wouldn't want them finding me. I looked back to see that the blast had knocked one of the Decepticon troopers flying across the room and right into a wall. Megatron seemed completely unfazed by this. Lord Megatron. Stabilizers are failing. The other Decepticon pilot yelled. His voice seemed low and menacing. And it looked he could turn into a tank, judging by the design of his physique. Brawl? Stay on this heading, Brawl, do not falter. Megatron ordered. I silently cheered, fist pumping. I got it right. But I could have sworn all of this seemed familiar to me. Why can't I remember? I've played this game a bunch of times, I should know it like the back of my hand. Engines are offline, shields are at 15%, said Barricade as he struggled to steady his controller. Reroute all power to guns and thrusters. Full speed ahead. Megatron commanded. I turned around behind me to see the previous Decepticon trooper struggle to his feet. I quickly moved and hid behind his chair, to avoid being spotted. He stood up to his feet, reaching out to Megatron. But sir, that's suicide, he stated. His answer was a gunshot to the chest by Megatron's ion cannon. He was blasted right into the door as his lifeless body collapsed. I gasped, covering my mouth to prevent my screams. While I wouldn't have flinched while just watching it on my TV screen, 'cause you know, it just being a game and all, being right in it just seemed so real. Then, what if this was actually real? Any further objections? Megatron questioned, looking at his remaining troops. They stayed silent, not wanting to be next to feel their leader's wrath. I sure didn't want to, but at the same time, I don't want to crash into that thing and possibly die. Ram this warship straight into the heart of that warship. Megatron ordered. I could feel the engines kicking in, the ship increasing its speed as it took the hits and blasts, heading straight for the station. As it got closer and closer, I just couldn't help myself but scream in utter terror before taking cover. The ship crashed into the heart of the station, a loud boom erupting across the air as sparks and debris flew everywhere, and my body rocked back and forth violently on impacted. I don't know how long I was out, but when I woke up, the Decepticons were already on the move. They didn't seem too badly hurt. They are robots after all. I quickly examined myself for any damage. Other than jolts of pain in my insides and a few bruises, I was fine. No bleeding or missing limbs. I gathered myself and ran down, across the room, jumping out of the ship and into the station. I was not going to stick around in that thing, that was for sure. For reason, to me, it just didn't feel right. But following the Decepticons did? What is with me today? We're lucky to have survived that, Megatron said Barricade. The strong survive, the weak perish. Megatron replied. Move, Decepticons. Double time. Move? Why? I turned around to see Energon leaking everywhere in the ship, some sparks of fire. Wait, fire. I quickly bolted, running faster and faster. I jumped and climbed up the debris, following closely behind the Decepticons. Megatron, this way. I looked up to see a few troopers leading Megatron the way to safety, and I took the chance to follow them. I stayed close, but stayed out of sight at the same time to try and avoid detection. There was another boom as debris from the ship came soaring straight for us. I jumped down, ducking for cover. I didn't feel any pain. I stopped quivering and shaking, turning around to see that the debris had squished together and formed a wall to fill up the hole that was in the station. I sighed with relief, glad that I was still alive. My heart was pounding like mad after experiencing that. I looked around to see Megatron, Barricade, and Brawl were inside a strange room. At the end, there was a strange-looking energy platform. Its sides transformed, red shocks of electricity lightening up. The two followers brought out their weapons, ready to protect their master. Megatron stepped forward as a holographic image took shape in the electricity. I am Starscream. I have protected my station for over 1,000 years. I quickly took cover behind a pillar, praying that none of them saw me back there. Megatron shoved Brawl aside, stepping forward to speak. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. This space station is Decepticon property. Surrender immediately. Starscream scoffed. Whoever you are, you've traveled a long way to meet your doom. As his holographic image vanished, Starscream had summoned 2 turrets on the walls. The weapons locked on to the 3 Decepticons and open-fired. I squealed quietly, quickly ducking back behind the pillar as I heard the Decepticons fire back. When the firepower ceased, I took a peek over the pillar to see a door to the side open. A few Decepticon troopers were waiting at the other side for their leader, saluting him as he and Barricade and Brawl ran past them. I quickly saw my chance. As much as I would like to get away from them as much as possible, a small part of me knew that I just may have to follow them. If I am stuck inside the game world, then if I want the game to progress with me, to hopefully find a way out, I had to follow them and see what happens. But I could have sworn I went through all of this before. Numerous times in fact. But why is my mind so blank about it right now? I quickly shook the feeling off as I noticed the doors beginning to close. I cursed quietly as I quickly bolted, sprinting towards the doors. At the last second, I jumped, just getting to the other side just as the doors closed shut. I landed with a thud on the metal floor of the hallway, surprised that it wasn't loud enough for the 3 Decepticons to hear. But then I panicked, recalling the Decepticon guards who were waiting for Megatron right at this very spot. I sprang up to my feet and looked up, followed by a loud sigh of relief. The guards were gone. Over there, a voice yelled. I flinched as I looked over down the hall, worried that I had been spotted. Oh look, a welcome wagon, said Brawl. I looked up to see 3 Cybertronian troopers drive down a ramp before transforming into their robot modes. They whipped out their weapons and open-fired on the Decepticons. I quickly ran for cover again behind a large metal box, occasionally poking my head out to see the fight. Man, that's all I've been doing since I got here. Taking cover and trying not to get spotted or killed. If this is supposed to be the video game world, should that mean I'm supposed to take control? After thinking that, I poked my head out once more to see Megatron completely crush the last of the guards with his foot, stomping its head before finishing him off by firing right into his chest. I gulped. Never mind. They were on the move again, running into a circular hallway with an energy window that prevented anyone from getting here the even larger holographic image of Starscream. Megatron stalked down the hall, staring at the image as Barricade and Brawl drove on ahead. I hung back, following Megatron's movements ever so slowly, so I could hear what the 2 had to say. Megatron, I thought you'd be scrap metal by now, said Starscream. Your survival intrigues me. I shall not be denied, Starscream. Surrender your Dark Energon program to me, immediately. Megatron ordered. Dark Energon. Starscream's optics widened with surprise as he looked taken back. Are you mad? Dark Energon brings only death and chaos. I am counting on it. Megatron replied as Starscream's hologram vanished once more. Dark Energon. I thought aloud. Where have I heard that before? Then it slowly started to click. I had heard of it in the show Transformers Prime. Dark Energon was supposed to have the power to bring back the dead, but as zombies and stuff. But that wasn't the case for Megatron as he found a way to control it. Control it? Wait a minute. Suddenly my mind clicked as an image flashed before my eyes. I was a containment center, with a dark, purple, pulsing energy trapped inside out. Once the image flashed away, I gasped loudly. Oh my gosh! I know where it is! I exclaimed. But I must have spoke a little too loud, because Megatron stopped moving. I immediately covered my mouth, praying that he doesn't turn around. He didn't stop moving in the game. Unless Megatron stopped, and slowly turned his body around, scanning the hallway until his blood-red optics locked onto me. I kid you not, when we saw me, I was so close to actually peeing myself. You there? He barked, pointing a finger at me. I squealed, picking my feet up as I attempted to run the opposite way, but something snatched me before I got the chance. I got it, Lord Megatron, said Barricade, bringing me over to him. Whatever it is exactly. What are you? And what are you doing here? Megatron asked coldly. She feels smooth. She appears to be some kind of organic. Barricade answered. Hey, keep your metal digits to yourself. I yelled, glaring at him. Lord Megatron, look. She bears the Autobot insignia. Brawl pointed out. I gasped, looking down at the side of my shirt to see the black and pink symbol. Oh, this could be trouble. I'm just glad there's dirt and gunk on the writing part of my shirt. Otherwise, if they read that, I don't know what they would try and do to me. Why would an organic have that? It must be some kind of trick. Should I squeeze her into pulp? Barricade asked with delight. Not yet, Barricade. Organic creature, you're coming with us for questioning. Megatron answered as he took the lead while the other two followed. When we reached the end of the hallway, the Decepticons had taken many neutral troops and a few Autobots prisoner, tied up in energy discs around their torso and arms. I saddened at the sight as the three Decepticons stood on a platform and it began ascending in the air. Now Organic, you mentioned earlier that you knew where it is. It wouldn't happen to be the Dark Energon Starscream is harboring, is it? Megatron asked, his voice just slightly calming, but still quite menacing. So you did hear me then? I realized with a gulp. H.A. You're not that quite good at spying, Autobot. Brawl commented. If she even is an Autobot to begin with. Barricade commented. As the lift ascended up to the next floor, Megatron turned around to look through the energy windows that overlooked the battlefield out in space. 3 red and white jets emerged near the lift, as the one in the middle transformed into his robot mode. Wait, was that Jetfire? My name is Jetfire. I'm not here to fight, he spoke. That makes one of us. Megatron replied. Speak your piece, quickly. I've seen the horrors of what Dark Energon can do, Megatron. It is not to be trifled with. Jetfire warned. To use it would mean disaster. He's telling the truth. I agreed. Silence, Organic. Barricade yelled, squeezing me a bit tighter, making me yelp. Jetfire seemed to be surprised, yet also puzzled at my appearance. He acted as if he had never seen a human before. Well, technically he hasn't seen a human before, probably not even an organic creature at all if I'm right. What is that organic thing doing with you? That is none of your concern. You cannot frighten me, Jetfire said Megatron. I will use Dark Energon to as I please. You are a short-sighted fool. You'll kill us all. Jetfire yelled as he transformed into his jet mode, just as the platform entered the docking bay. He says it as if it were a bad thing. Megatron chuckled. I hope this Dark Energon stuff is worth it, Megatron said Barricade. The platform came to a stop as the energy field collapsed, allowing the 3 Decepticons to step off. They walked over to another Decepticon who was at the controls of the command center. I gasped, recognizing the Decepticon instantly. Soundwave, report. Megatron ordered. We have taken control over this portion of the station. Soundwave explained. We have established a base of operations. Scans indicate that Starscream has locked down all of the notable routes to the Dark Energon reactor. HMMP, and we're fresh out of Star Cruisers to tunnel down there. Barricade commented. Quiet. Megatron commanded. There must be another access point that leads to it. Megatron paced around once, before looking up briefly at me in Barricade's grasp. You Organic, do you have a name? He's asking for my name. Well, this is rather strange. Camellia. I answered slowly. Well then, Camellia, you said it yourself. Do you know of another route to the Dark Energon? Tell us and I just may spare your life. Megatron ordered. Great, my life was on the line now. Okay, I got the Dark Energon to appear once in my head, maybe I can make it happen again. I focused hard, picturing the Dark Energon in my head, and then the image of a door appeared in my head. It flashed away as I opened my eyes, looking around the room. I spotted the exact same door to the right side of me. Oh boy. I knew I was going to regret this. I pointed over at the door. It's that way. Megatron looked over at the door before looking back at me. And you are certain that is the way? I gulped nervously before replying, I swear. I swear upon the Allspark it's the truth. I don't know why I added that bit. Then we have no time to waste, said Megatron. Not a second after that, the three of them were already on the move, running through the doorway as they made their way through the halls, Barricade still holding a tight grip on me to prevent my escape. This place seems outdated, said Barricade. This station was created 10,000 years ago. Much of its technology is antiquated and inefficient. I look forward to updating it. Megatron replied. I was forced to lead the way towards the dark Energon. Of course it ended up costing the lives of a few troopers and I felt bad. I was working for the Decepticons practically at gunpoint for all I knew. I had no idea that if they killed me, would I wake up back in my world? Or would I be dead? Brawl took control of another platform as it descended downwards this time. At the same time, Starscream's voice could be heard over a loudspeaker. Megatron. You may have gotten this far, but you'll never get your hands on the Dark Energon. He barked. Starscream, this is needless. I know who you once were, Sky Commander. Megatron spoke. Hey, that's right. He was a Sky Commander before the war started. You were betrayed. But with Dark Energon, I shall return Cybertron to its former glory, and you to yours. If you agree to serve me. Megatron proposed. You're a fool. No one can control Dark Energon, said Starscream. Okay, did he seriously just say that? Brawl smashed the door open once the platform reached the bottom of its descent, which led to another platform that went upward this time. I tire of these futile attempts to stop me. Organic Camellia, how close are we to the Dark Energon? He looked over at me, his red optics flashing in my direction. We should be getting close. The tighter security is a sign. I explained nervously. That Dark Energon will be mine. He added. What makes you think you can control the Dark Energon, when no one else has been able to? Barricade asked him. Again with the stupid questions. It's basic bad guy logic. Only the strong succeed to be worthy of such a weapon, Barricade. I am the strongest, and do not question me again. Megatron ordered. When the door opened at its stop, it revealed a large chunk of the space station completely ripped apart, revealing a breathtaking view of Cybertron. The floor was ripping into pieces, drifting off into space. What now, Organic? Barricade asked with annoyance. It's at the other side. That entrance over there. I explained, pointing at the entryway at the other side of the, once, large room. Decepticons, move forward. Megatron ordered. The Decepticons jumped across the pieces of the floor, desperately trying not to fall over. I started to feel woozy and weak. It was the space. There's no oxygen out in space. What if my head explodes? I coughed harshly as we neared the doorway, running through as Barricade slammed the doors shut. Barricade, finally noticing this, was completely freaked out and dropped me on the floor. You. Knock it off, Organic, I don't want to get your germs on me. Barricade, that is no way to treat our companion. Megatron spoke. The way he said that last word made me shiver. Besides, she has done well. Once I regained myself, I looked up to see what Megatron was talking about. When I saw it, my eyes widened as big as flying saucers as I slowly stood up to my feet. It was the Dark Energon reactor. The one I saw in my little vision of mine. And let me tell you, it was huge. The sound of a jet caught our attention as we looked over to see a purple, red, and gray jet soaring above us, transforming into his robot mode as Starscream, in the flesh, hovered before us. Impossible. No one has ever survived to reach this place, he barked with shock. You soon shall learn, Starscream. I decide what is possible and what isn't, said Megatron. Megatron aimed his ion cannon at the containment field, destroying the door. He stalked forward, stepping inside the reactor with the Dark Energon as Starscream just watched him, mouth gaped open. You arrogant fool. No one has ever survived direct contact. The force of the Dark Energon lifted Megatron and pulled him in, the energy completely surrounding him. We all watched with shock, while everyone else was shocked. except for me. Don't get me wrong, I was a little terrified watching with my own eyes, but I have seen this before way too many times in Transformers Prime. No. No one can control Dark Energon. Megatron laughed menacingly as he summoned Dark Energon crystals, destroying the reactor as he made his way out of the contraption. I am the Dominator, I am the Destroyer, I am Megatron. He screamed. Decepticons, receive your birthright. He flexed his hands out, firing a jolt of the Dark Energon at Barricade and Brawl. The two of them consumed the power of the Dark Energon, their optics turning purple just like their leader. Now, I shall deal with Starscream. I couldn't believe all of this was happening before my very eyes. Megatron had gained control of one of the most dangerous weapons in the Transformers universe. And I helped him do it.
And there you go, the finishing chapter of Dark Energon. I do apologize for the first video of Dark Energon. It seemed that it was incomplete. And if you like these videos, leave a comment and hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. See you later.